Greetings, respected panelists. I am Manvi Jain, a cognitive science student from the Albag Educational Institute, Agra, and I am going to present my paper titled Calibration of Off-the-Shelf, Low-Cost Wearable EEG Devices for Application in Field Studies on Children. This is the project which I completed under the supervision of Dr. C.M. Martin. It's as indicated by the title, it's a calibration study of revolutionary dry EEG devices introduced newly in the field of neuropsychology against something ideal. So the problem that we address here is EEG, electroencephalograph, although being an integral tool in neuroscientific research, will today have several problems that can be an important aspect for us. For example, inaccessibility to researchers or in developing countries like India, heavy setup of the EEG system, expensive and sensitive devices, and usage of dozens of channels, which is not always important. All these problems together make the use of EEG, traditional EEG systems, use impractical in outside lab settings. So the solution for the problem is low-cost portable EEG devices, which are advantageous because as seen in figure, as shown in figure 1, they're Hellman-like. They can be carried easily in the field settings. They are plug-and-play, wireless. Lesser number of channels are used by them for focusing on specific brain regions, and they can be used with young children. So the resources that we use in our study is Dream Headband, shown in the figure 1, the first device, and dipole simulator program of PISA software. So the Dream Headband has 6 electrodes, 4 in frontal and 2 in occipital electrodes. A child can be seen in figure 2 at the left, wearing this Dream Headband in open lab settings, which shows how comfortable and easy to use it is. Dipole simulator program, on the other hand, is a software which is a brain wave analysis software, which uses the physics of the electrical conductivity in the brain. In the sense, when a neuron has an electrical impulse passing through it, it acts like a dipole. Same way, in a head model in this dipole simulator program, we can seed dipoles artificially and create or simulate source waveforms that would be similar to as what brain in a real brain produces when an electrical impulse passes through it and the signals are got by the EEG. So the contributions of this study are here. The hypothesis is that these dry EEG devices are capable of replacing the traditional EEG systems in field studies involving children. The aim is to characterize the quality of signals collected by such a headband, which is Dream Headband, and creating a comparative study against ideal data simulated using the dipole simulator program of PISA software. The methodology includes 2 important points. The first is the inverse study to identify accuracy level of PISA source localization tool, in which we seeded dipoles or electrodes at specific main electrode positions. For example, in frontal lobe, it was in the positions of FP1, FP2, F3, F4, FC, and F8, F7, F8, to produce signals to produce activation in the frontal lobe, and then source localization tool depicts that the activation is located in the frontal lobe, which is kind of a inverse study to account for the simulator. Hence, for all this 4 lobes, we could see the results which were as expected. So we move to the second and the more important of our target, which is the calibration of signal quality derived from the Dream Headband. The task which we selected was after a literature survey on cognitive tasks and functions of the frontal and occipital lobe. We brought the study down to the Tower of London task, which requires complex stages of cognition and motor action in rapid succession. It was easy to perform, so we could do it at home in the pandemic too. You can see in the image at the left, the subject SJ, who is age 24 and has an average IQ, can be seen playing the TOL task wearing the headband device. And at the right, an analyzable data derived from the dream headband can be seen. On the other hand, the artificial data was simulated using Visa Dipole Simulator program, for which we placed this or seated the dipoles in the 6 electrode positions corresponding to the dream headband, and produced the soft source waveforms for the individual electrode. Next, we came to visualization, for which we first applied density spectral analysis, which is one kind of a fast Fourier transform analysis, which showed EEG voltage current source density in different frequency ranges. Here in figure 8a, we can see for real data, DSA is scattered, which means there's a loss, which is because of an additional environmental noise, which is unavoidable in some circumstances, for example, in our data collection. While on the other hand, for the artificial data, it is a straight line, or it is regular because of no noise level. Then distributed source analysis, CLARA technique, clustering large application technique was applied, as shown in the first target of ours in the inverse study, and which depicted high correlation between the activated regions in both the data sets. Then statistical analysis, given the data points in time domain for 1 to 2000 data points, we took out the RMS values of them for all the 6 channels, plotted them in the bar graphs as seen to depict the variation between the RMS values. For example, for real data, it starts from 2000, while in the simulated data, it starts from 100, which is a lot of variation just because of the additional environmental noise, which is unavoidable in outside lab settings. The Pearson correlation coefficient for RMS values for both the data sets came out to be positive and high, which is 0.3156, which actually gives us positive results, and lets us assume and conclude that both the data set, that is real data set and artificial, real, the one we took out from dream headband, and the data set, artificial data set that we simulated using the Visa software, are highly correlated and can be used alternatively. That means that studies which cannot use traditional EEG systems can use dry EEG devices. For example, the studies listed here, field studies, and studies requiring portable and low-cost neurophysiological monitoring equipments, and of course, developmental studies performed in children. However, an important conclusion is that somehow data quality will be compromised with due to unavoidable environmental noise in field settings, which we can somehow ignore or avoid by reducing the amount of equipment around us, and there can be several other ways too. So we draw main significance and point of discussions from this whole study in terms of dry EEG usage. So these dry EEG devices can be actually revolutionary in the field of pediatric studies. Pediatric studies include children below 3 to 5 years of age who sometimes fear the wearing those traditional EEG systems. So these such a study design which would aim to identify physiological markers in children below 3 to 5 years of age, developing especially in the fields of dialbach, while performing different cognitive tasks, is possible using such a device with additional advantages. And this can be an important study from the point of view of pediatric studies, pediatric cognitive studies, basically. However, this study is significant because before real-world implementation of the dry EEG devices on such young children with whom it is somehow difficult sometimes, it became possible to calibrate the data collected by the device to understand and rectify the issues involved in advance. So hence, I would like to end the project details here, and would like to comment that this with really the implementation, real world implementation of such devices, along with a calibration study beforehand, would make it a really important point to lead us to obtain quality data. Well, I would like to thank my supervisor and mentor, Dr. C.M. Markan, with whose support and teachings I was able to complete this project. I would also like to thank our subject and then the technical support team of DREAM and Visa. At the end, thank you, respected panelists, for being so patient.